They're growing. Good girl, honey. Hey, Simple Life, how you doing? I gotta put your GoFundMe up thing. I just was putting it off, and I will tomorrow. It's a one-horse town. Yeah, I'm feeling better. I'm not 100%, but a lot better than I was the other day. I should be getting a referral this week. Hopefully. How you feeling? Is that surgery still scheduled for the end of November? That's kind of what I got going on, something like that. I think. Did your joints ache through any of that? Oh, good for you. Had you gotten colonoscopies ahead of that time, or was that your first issue and that's how you found it? Hey KP, how you doing? Oh, okay, no kidding, huh? Wow. Good thing they figured it out then. Were you symptomatic, or did you just think it was a good time to get one? And you got lucky that they found that? Hey, I see you. How you doing? Oh, gotcha. No, I believe it. The funny thing about that is we're a lot of times people don't realize it. Is they think that it's bleeding that you see. Most of the time, it's not. It's microscopic bleeding. You can be bleeding quite a bit, and it's not visible. Most people don't get that. I just talked to somebody the other day that has been bleeding for a year and a half and hasn't done anything about it because they're scared to get the results. Can you believe that? Oh, I had you crying. Why is that? Hey, Mark, how you doing? How's it going? I had a nice trip up there to Mackinac. That's somebody asked me how far that is. It's 130 miles. It's not bad at all, and you can haul ass the whole way, and it's a beautiful ride the whole way. So, I get up there in like no time because I do 80 the whole way. So I like going there. I noticed in the last year or two I've kind of haven't been as interested in freighters as I used to be. So I don't go up to the Sioux, and part of that is the Sioux. If there's That's basically the reason you go up there, because of the freighters. And if there aren't any, there's really not a whole hell of a lot to do. It's not pretty like Mackinac. If you guys are not from Michigan and you watch those videos, I think it's enough to interest you in visiting there for a weekend. I'll go to Mackinac Island someday. I've been there so many times back in the day that I never go over there because I've got Daisy and stuff. But it's really, people from all over the world go there all summer long. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I still got something going on. I don't know what it is. It could be just getting old, to tell you the truth. I mean, I know I don't drink enough water and stuff like that. I'm drinking more now. And that day that I ended up going to the hospital, it was like, there's something really wrong here. This isn't, Hey, Brian. Yeah, I mean, that's the first time I've been to the hospital, and I can't tell you when. I mean, it was like, I described it as poison. There's still something going on. I hope they get to the bottom of it, because I think I've had this coming on for a long time. I've always had this rheumatological issue they could never really pinpoint. My joints have been sore. I mean, I just feel like shit most of the time. People say, well, how can you feel like shit and drive all those places? That's a good question. I mean, honestly, driving is like not much effort. First of all, I like doing it. And secondly, I take a few pictures, do a little video. It's really kind of effortless. It isn't like sitting down and, preparing a tax return for a year or finishing painting my bedroom that I started in July. That kind of stuff I almost find impossible. No, well, until today was the first day that I didn't wake up with a stomach ache. If you went right down in the middle of your breastbone, right below there, like about an inch, your stomach is actually very high. When, mothers are rubbing their stomachs of their kids in movies, they're way too low, but the stomach's like high. And it was bothering me. It was like, I never even had stomach aches, but it felt like maybe I drank some acid or something. And then it was like, if you went down, let's say right at your belly button, and you went to the left and then down two inches, I'd say for probably 20 years, I've told doctors about it. It's like, it feels like there's something in there, and I would describe it as a golf ball inflated with a lot of air. And they've taken x-rays, nobody ever found anything. Well, they found something this time. I always thought it was like maybe a strain from weightlifting over years or something. I mean, I haven't worked out in 2 years. Really, I don't think I could work out now. I just don't feel like it. So I get things done, but nothing's great. And my appetite's back. To tell you the truth, even when I was at the really bad point, I mean, I was just afraid to eat anything. It wasn't because my appetite was stifled. Like, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I'm trying to get more exercise and eat more fiber and all that stuff. I ate that fish dinner, and then, believe it or not, on the way home, I got a Jets small square pizza. Ate the whole thing on the way home. Like right now, I just had my second Thai dinner, and I'm like legit hungry. I mean, I want to eat it. So it's you'd think it would affect your appetite, and it not like only for a couple days, not more of just being cautious. But I feel like I'm hungry in hell all the time.
Hey, Buttercup.
Yeah, it didn't last for long though. It didn't really last long. I'll tell you too, man. I know I do some stupid stuff, but I'm kind of like I'm a damn grand slam guy. It's balls out or nothing. I'm like that with everything. Playing sports, betting, you name it. And that night that I was like really sick, and I thought, man, tomorrow I'm gonna call this doctor and see if he can get me in there. And he did. You know what I did? It's like I'm feeling like shit and drinking some water. I drank a whole bottle of red wine. Now you would say that is really not smart. Well, you know what? Probably not, but it's like, believe this sounds nuts, and I'm not advising it, but I'm glad that I did. It kind of dulled the pain. I think I'd have been just wallowing around, not sleeping too hot. And in that instance, you'd never get the blessings of your doctor, but it worked. Yeah, I mean, it bites me in the ass here and there. Most of the time, it's worked for me. I've done it like with buying buildings and property and selling businesses and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, the world's so different now. At this stage of my life, I'm on the home slope, and all I can do is mess it up with something stupid. I don't want to own anything. I don't want a nicer house, a nicer car, nothing. I just want to drink good coffees in the morning, run around like a lunatic with a GoPro, videotaping everything. I'm obsessed with videotaping and taking photos. I've also been, it's just finally YouTube place to upload it. So I was never really interested in viral videos or being popular or anything like that. So as crazy as it sounds, I'm kind of glad that part's over. There's some people that I've met that I'm glad I did, and I'm going to stick by them because I agreed to it. But my days of going into the hood and having this fantasy of jerking people out of there and becoming soccer moms not really is over. It's just not for me. It's too much lying, too much conniving. I mean, look at some of these monsters I created by helping them start their channel. I mean, it's like Frankenstein in real life. Exactly what I didn't want to do. But I didn't know anything, But I've just realized that I don't want to do what I did that probably got us to meet. I don't want to be around drug addicts. I just don't. I think I'd rather go with feeding crippled squirrels and birds that fell out of a nest. And I always said that there were no expectations, but I guess there were, because it just got to where 5 years of 99% of the time getting conned, lied to, or harassed wasn't worth it.
Hey, Waking Ohio.
So I just got to where I'm probably getting older too. I don't know. It just got where it didn't make any sense going down there. I will do it if, like that guy gave him a ride and he went and killed his girlfriend. Almost cut her. He wanted to ride. Almost cut her head off. Now you'd think, well, does that bother you? Not really. Because I would just be a good guy giving him a ride. I can't help what people do once they get there. Now, if I'd have known he was going to do some shit like that, if he said, hey, I just thought I'd let you know, I'm going to murder my girlfriend if you give me a ride, well, you're not getting a ride. But to have that happen, when I was just trying to be a nice guy, I'd sleep like a baby. Wouldn't bother me a bit. Yeah, feed the birds. Yeah, I'm going to keep life simple. It's pretty simple anyway. My buddy in Atlanta I talk about a lot. His brother just got killed Thursday. Was going to the gym, got off on the side of the road. I'm sure you people know this. I drove an ambulance for a year. And then I also did some accident reconstruction investigations along the way as a PI. And this is common. You get off the side of the road, it's raining, you're texting probably nowadays, you're not paying attention, you get off, it scares you, it startles you, and you jerk back on. And what ends up happening is that tire catches that concrete and it's turned too far because you're overcorrecting. And once that rubber connects, it'll jam you across the other side before you know it hit you at about a 45-degree angle. Nobody edges on subtly. They're scared. They want to get out of that, and they jerk quick, and it'll either spin you around or it'll flip you or head you into a head-on collision. He went right across the street, didn't have a seatbelt on, then ejected him through the windshield. On the accidents that I worked on, maybe I'd say probably 10 of them in a 40-year period, that you can't imagine what force is when a car is getting ready to roll over, or when it hits something stationary and you're not buckled in. It's not uncommon to get injected right out through the window if you're not wearing a seatbelt. Just as much out the sunroof too. Just as much out the side window, sometimes the rear window. It's crazy. You bounce around in there like popcorn. Yeah, well, I've had some pretty good success with helping people out financially, so I don't say that. I wouldn't agree with that all the time. I helped Becky pay 2 months behind rent and paid her phone bill for 3 months, and the reason that I did that was because when I first met her, these people are so used to getting lied and screwed and not being trustworthy, and now I don't go down there like I used to. And I wanted her to know that, I came through on my word. And she was very appreciative from it. Same thing with Tassie. It's happened with Kim. It's happened to some other people. So that's not anything you can rely on all the time. This notion of giving somebody $10 and then trying to nail you with a guilt trip of what if they overdosed. You can save that question for somebody else, because they were doing $10 dimes for 10 years before I knew them, and they'll probably do it for another 20 years after I don't. So this notion that my $10 is going to be some supercharged inflammatory questions, not happening. Stupid. I've watched what they've bought.
Click it or ticket.
Yeah, but you're making a generalization that this happens all the time, and it's just not true. I mean, that may be what you did, but I know what's happened with what I've done for people, and that's false. You don't, in my instances, you don't know what you're talking about because you don't know any of the details. I get what you mean, but these comments all the time on these YouTube videos by these experts, and if somebody doesn't like somebody, they're going to do nothing but criticize you for helping them in any way you can, like they're some kind of expert. And of course, the number one issue is it's none of anybody's business.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Julie. How you been? How you feeling?
I mean, you could say this with alcohol, you name it. Come on, Daisy. Come on, hon. There's plenty of people out there that are addicted to all sorts of things that are fringe that end up doing okay. So it's not one size fits all. It doesn't work with every single example out there. Come on, hon. Get in. Come on, we go bye-bye. You coming? Come on, hon. What are you doing down there, honey? No, I'm saying you probably did. I'm just saying it doesn't work out that way. And you're talking about we collectively. There's variations of addictions, and everybody isn't like you. You're not an authority for every single drug addict that's out there, and you don't know what's transpired between me and them. It's just not true. You don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, good, Julie. We got a class pet. What is it, a hamster? Never. Yeah, I have been in a dope house, yeah. Yeah, I have been in them, yep.
No, I didn't. That's still kind of up in the air, actually. I got a guy that I could ride back with from South Carolina. but it would be Friday and the funeral's tomorrow for the brother. And honestly, I just don't feel like calling and asking. I mean, hey, can I bring the van down? You're going to the funeral of your brother, so I think I'm just going to hope I get another opportunity. No, I did not take it down there. Well, I think drug counselors change people, not God. I mean, did God get him into it too? That's another thing. I don't mind helping people out, but it isn't from a religious perspective. To me, it's got nothing to do with it. If you have, like with Simple Life, I wish her a good expert colon rectal surgeon. I'm not praying. I wanted to have a good doctor. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'll tell you what a drug house is like. It's you go in there and there's like people like sleeping everywhere. No lights, no running water, no electricity. A lot of times, for some reason, well, I've been in two. They look like they had been on fire at one time. It's all set up where the drugs are like not big quantities. Like you'll go in, you'll go through the back, cut through some weeds, go in the back door, and you'll like know which way to go. So if they ever get raided, there's not much you're gonna find. They've got every hole, nook and cranny, eaves trough, you name it. Super dirty place where you've just kind of moved in that you don't belong and you got nothing to lose. It's not your house. I mean, Detroit is better than it used to be, but there used to be literally thousands of them, and I'm sure there's still a lot of them around there. It reminds you of just to remind you of a vacant house, only people sleeping all over in it, kind of nodding and hey, Frisky. Hey, Simka. Yeah, it's just it's not like Halloween or anything. It's just that you're in a place just by virtue of nothing working in there. It's cold. There's no windows, no carpet, stuff laying all over, cans, bottles, energy drinks, cigarette packs, needles, you name it. Some are better than others, but the two I were in were just what I expected. There's nothing glamorous about it, I can tell you that. It's a terrible existence, being a drug addict. You give up everything. It's hard to believe that a drug can control everything you do, but it does. Heroin especially. Oh, good for you. No, don't be scared. You'll be fine. Robotic surgery is the way to go. It's way smoother. I mean, it's not like the thing is going to, a bolt of lightning's going to strike and it's going to slice your abdomen into tiny bitty pieces. It's really super safe. They do it with cardiac ablazers. Almost all ablations. I know somebody who had a tumor taken out of a kidney. It's all with a joystick, basically. It's a lot safer. Because they're just it's like it's not their place. They're there for one reason, and that is to be involved with drugs. It's not like when you're in that state of mind, it seems to me that being orderly and clean and wanting things nice isn't even a part of the program. To take care of yourself or anything else, you're doing it all. When I first did it, it was like, yeah, this is really interesting. All these people need is maybe just someone they can count on. Well, I found that to be not true. And for every, if you could go down there with a magic wand and help 10 of them, there'd be 25 more the next week that you'd need to start all over again. Which is why, if you look historically at places in New York City and Philadelphia, LA, this isn't going away. No, not really. No. There's kind of. I know one guy that was kind of like they weren't coming in there if they didn't recognize you, but it wasn't like you were gonna get taken out or anything. It was more of like a concierge just to keep an eye on if these people were customers or they were infiltrate. It's funny. I've been in the neighborhoods down there before where the drug houses, on some occasions, made kind of agreements with the neighborhood that they wouldn't do any of the activity outside, and they, in a weird way, kind of kept the neighborhood nicer than it would have been otherwise. Now you'll have the opposite, where people just don't want that in their neighborhood, and they'll fight to get them out. But it was kind of a mixed bag. It was some places, like it's graffiti on churches. If you go down to some of those nice churches in Detroit, you don't see them getting painted up, and everything else is just decimated with spray paint. And that's because they've come to an agreement. And we know this goes on, but please don't, spray paint the churches down here. And they don't. You don't see it happen. And when you do, my experience is somebody from the suburbs playing the thug life for an hour while they're drinking a couple energy drinks. They don't know any better. I would think if you'd find some kind of defacing done with paint. Now, that did happen in downtown Detroit at suburbanites, thinking that they're thugs and they don't know what to paint and what not to paint. There was a guy, if you look at a lot of the old photos and videos that I did of abandoned buildings, there was one guy, I can't think of his name right now. That son of a bitch painted everything. And here's another weird thing. For a while, when I first started doing that, I'd stay up all night long. I'd drive around Detroit. That was when it was at its worst, like 6-7 years ago. I never, ever saw anybody painting anything. I mean, I think they hear you coming and they hide. So weird. Yeah, hey Cindy. I mean, a lot of times down there they'd raid these drug houses looking for like somebody in particular, maybe with an outstanding warrant. But I mean, sometimes they'd raid them. They didn't find a big enough fish, and they just move on. Nobody get charged with anything. Yeah. It's a strange place, man. I mean, Detroit, I'm sure there are other places like it, but, they were looking on the upswing for a while. And I think it's like, honestly, my opinion, I think Detroit, was doing okay. Got a lot. What happens is, if you ever pay attention to these cities, the federal government, I mean, there's got to be a thing, like the Rand Corporation. There are people that are in the background, and they get together, and I think they have these think tank meetings, and over the years they've decided that you can't put the appearance out that the entire country is crumbling. And I'm not talking about San Mateo and San Francisco and Brentwood and these kind of places. They're always going to be around, but if you notice, the have and the have-nots, it's getting more disparity than ever, more gated communities than ever. The middle class is struggling everywhere. So what'll happen, even towns like this, you'll see where there's federal monies that are doled out to DDA. I forget what that stands for. But basically what it is, it's grant money, and it keeps you, like these bridges right here, these wooden bridges, it keeps your town from looking like a dump. And you'll say, well, why would the federal government pay for that? That's why. Because they can't afford to have, Australian journalists come over here and spend 2 months, and everywhere they go is just an absolute dump. The streets are bad, the infrastructure's failing, the bridges are collapsing. So part of that is you get people in your community, and there's always people like my age now that are living in the past, that they want to bring old popsicle sticks and bingo back, and they expect to convince the youth that it's better to live that way than it is now. And they're always trying to improve things. And those are the kind of people that get on these boards that become pretty good at writing grant proposals. I don't know if you've ever checked into that very often, but I knew I dated a lady for about a month that wrote grant proposal, and she was really sharp. But I didn't really understand what grant writing entailed. I thought it was somebody that would just come up with this beautiful written letter trying to convince somebody how their town would be so much better if they would fund this, whatever it is, whether it's a park or a new place for kids to swim without drowning in a tidal wave, that kind of thing. It's not that at all. Basically, it's pretty cut and dried. You go on these websites and you read these requirements, these grants, and it's fill in the blank. You don't really even get a chance to write much of a narrative. It's not convincing anybody at anything. You're kind of applying for it, telling him your need, taking a couple snapshots of where you'd like it to be, and hoping for the best. And she made really good money at it. But that kind of took the mystique out of grant writing to me. But these programs are all over the country. I'm sure they call them different things in different states. But the money funnels down through the DDA here. There's one up here I'll show you, actually. I'll give you a perfect example of it. And what that was is an old apartment building that burned down. And it sat there vacant. Well, I mean, if you're wanting to build something, you don't want to build it between two buildings built in the 1880s. That's one of the reasons it burned down to begin with. Old-fashioned, out of date. I mean, it's just not a bad fit. So, all of a sudden, the city gets the property back because, it's vacant, and the people that lost their ass just say, here, you can have it. And then they get stuck paying tax on it. Before you know it, when people from out of town come down to a town like West Branch, they say, well, we were downtown, and they had this empty area, and there was just a bunch of crap laying around, and just looked like shit. You think they'd do something with it. That's exactly what the federal government doesn't want happening. And of course, these local communities don't want. So I'm going to show you a perfect example right here now that we're talking about. See that cop with his radar? I'm going to show you a perfect example of what I'm talking about and how this federal money funds down through this DDA, and you build things like this. So rather than a couple rats banging on the top of a Burger King wrapper, we got a nice park that the drunk people can go urinate in when the bar closes. Not like they used to, though, because they wrote a couple tickets for that, and there's a police camera there now to try and discourage it. Just remember the old adage, no good deed goes unpunished. I'll show you this thing right here, and it actually is very nice. And I think you'll agree that anything is better than two rats banging on the top of a Burger King wrapper. And you'll see the facades of buildings. Hop over, hon. Hop over, honey. Go on. Jump. Good girl. Good girl, hon. Here's a perfect example of federal money gets funneled down to little places to take away blight. Oh, this is drained now because it's be freezing. And this otherwise would just be a vacant lot with nothing. And there is the camera. Yeah, it's pretty, but these things, I don't know what this cost. But see, this is the two old buildings I told you about. And this would just be a crappy looking vacant lot. But the government doesn't want every place looking like a dump. So this is what you get, which I'm fine with. The moon tonight. So isn't it cute? Hey, Faye. So this is it, DDA money. It's all over the place. Well, I can give you, there's other examples. They built some bridges. There's some people that would walk to Walmart, and that was before the road widened. Honestly, I thought it was a waste of money because they widened the road and they don't plow that new $1 million sidewalk anymore. And I just think it was a bad use of funds, but nobody asked me, so it doesn't matter. Hey, hon. I get Daisy some DDA money. Dog bones. Good girl. Hey, David. No, it actually works. It's successful. Now, it's not my hometown, but it's where I live now. Yeah, West Branch. And a lot of this, you'll get these lights. This is all DDA money. See these white lights? That's DDA money. Hey, Mary. Yeah, it's. I think it's a good program. I mean, that's what the federal government's for, if you ask me. I'll tell you a funny thing. I had the same CPA for, God, 40 years. And it didn't end well. I was having some problems about 4 years ago, and he was like, thought he'd give me a piece of his mind one day. If he'd have been younger, I'd have kicked his ass. And that was kind of the end of that. And he's an older guy, and I just happened to look his name up tonight, and I see he got $166,000 worth of money from doing that COVID bullshit. And all these guys are super loaded. I mean, really killed it over the years. I mean, big bucks. And here they still ended up, and I saw that they're not going to have to pay the SBA money back to the government, and it just makes me think, what bullshit. Yeah, that's what it is. Downtown Development Association. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And there's all sorts of projects around here for that. That church at the end of the street for me, they have these food giveaways. And hey, Frederick. And boy, you ought to see the line when they give out this canned food. I mean, there's a lot of poverty. I'll tell you something I never did much till lately. And I was up in, I go to Mackinac. I was in St. Ignace. I think St. Ignace is the second oldest city in the state. Sault Ste. Marie's number one. But anyway, people will say to you, will say, where do you live? It's like, oh, I'm from St. Ignace, or I'm from Mackinac. And I always think to myself, or I'm from Pinconning. And I always think, oh, that's kind of cool. Pinconning, kind of a farming community. And I think the same for like St. Ignace and Mackinac. Well, I've kind of tapped out everywhere I go because I've been going there so long. And I stick to the things that I like, the kind of videos I upload. But when you drive around like St. Ignace, and you drive around like Mackinac City, and you drive around like Pinconning, Michigan, you just get off the main track, like the main drag, and it's a little bit surprising. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Delray, to be honest with you. Blue tarps on leaks in the roofs, and old cars that are in the yard that haven't run in 20 years. It's not what you think. Hey, Source. Hey, Penny. Hey, Cindy. Oh, good luck, Cindy. You had the shot, though, didn't you? Hey, Rita. Big time, Conan, for sure. I think they're already here. Big time. They still can't get anybody work. I just went into Walgreens, and they can't get pharmacists, so that's always been a problem around here. We have the same problem with like trauma surgeons and stuff. What happens is their wife comes to town, and they don't want to live in places like this. You get a guy that's going to be making $1.5 million a year or something as an orthopedic surgeon. Their wife does not want to live in West Branch. She wants to live in Ann Arbor or Petoskey or Traverse City. That's a big issue. is getting the spouse to go along with it, and the parents worry about the schools. They want to be in a good school system, so it's not easy to recruit people to some of these places, which is really kind of weird.
Hi, Penny.
I can't figure this working thing out, to tell you the truth. It's a mystery to me. That place that I ate today twice, actually, they can't get people to work. I'll tell you, the places that are really struggling are the places where they need waitresses, because they still only get like $3.86 an hour. So you still gotta, kiss everybody's ass, and that's a lot of ass kissing when it's a hot dog and a hamburger joint to average $15 an hour for the day. So nobody wants to be a waitress anymore. You can go and sit on your ass at the local gas station for $18 an hour, the midnight shift, and wait on 2 customers a night. And that's a set $18 an hour. Why in the hell would you want to be slaving away as a waitress? The mystery to me is who's affording these houses. What they're getting for these houses is nuts. Look at the used car market. These Astro vans are selling for $3,000 less, used with a couple 100,000 miles on them, than they did brand new in 2003.
Good night, Semka. Yeah, you're right, Conan.
Yeah. Sim, could you start that move? Yeah, that was an old Dornier that they were flying, twin engine. I'm really curious how that crash happened. They were home free. I don't know what the hell happened there. The pilot had a heart attack or something? Yeah, how unfortunate. But the whole thing is just, that's a pretty slow airplane. It's just, I really want to know what caused that. Yeah, no, it's crazy what they're getting for vans. Absolutely nuts. That van that I got, that Toyota, I got that for $3,500. It's got 180,000 miles on it. An old couple bought it, and they decided to get a new one. Georgia, no rust, so I bought it. That Atlanta guy got it. He even delivered it, but he was coming up here anyway. So I just can't get into front wheel drive. I really want to put my kayaks in the garage. I like my Astro van. I'm just going to keep buying things for it, whatever it needs. This could be my transmission. I don't care. New engine, swap it out. Fine with me. Just got my 4th alternator, original trans, original radiator. Just going to keep going with it. But those are selling for about $9,000 now. $9,000. Now, I just parked it in the garage for a year. It's nuts. You go to get your car worked on, like a van like mine, everybody's packed to the gills. Why? Because there's a bunch of people out there driving older vehicles that weren't maintained. You need a lot of stuff. Yeah, they said that, Mary. I half-ass wonder if that's a bunch of media bullshit. They're famous for making stories up like that because there's nobody there to dispute them. I mean, you're in an airplane cockpit and the thing crashes and you saved your daughter with your body. I mean, this is like the dog that saved somebody from drowning. Nobody ever has any good video on it because it's a bunch of bullshit. Dog was running around yelping, and they morphed that into saving somebody from drowning. The media are experts at creating stories like that. Oh, car notes. Yeah, it's not like the old days. I'm like, when I remember buying a car, new cars, it was like no big deal. You didn't you know. Now what they get for cars, well, the Wall Street Journal said that the middle class can no longer afford a new car, and that's pretty much true. It doesn't mean that you can't have one, but you really can't afford it. If you look at medium income, which is why, and I give the automobile industry an A+ for this, which is why they've been able to convince everybody that leasing's the way to go. Leasing is not the way to go. It's the way to go if you own a business, not as an individual. But they were able to turn this all around, and you got everybody renting now, not owning, thinking that they got a better deal. Good night, Buttercup. Yeah, I don't really care for front wheel drive. I mean, this is all-wheel drive. I mean, it's not bad, believe me. It's just, I like all-wheel drive, but you know, you do have the front wheels. And actually, I think it would probably be pretty good in snow. And really, it may not be that much better than all-wheel drive. It's just, actually, the van's kind of too nice for me. It's in good shape. All the seats are in it. It's like a soccer mom van. You know, I got this thing hollowed out. I can put my tripods in them without collapsing them down to the smallest size. Daisy sleeps back there. It just wasn't practical for me. If I had a job and I had to get to work back and forth, now we're talking. But if my vehicle breaks down, it's not that big a deal. Yeah, Thurman Munson, yeah, he was in way over his head. He was in the early Citation 500 series. That was just a big mistake. It takes a while to get, jet airplanes are different than props. He got low on the power curve and that was game over. He shouldn't have been flying that anyway. There's all sorts of articles to support that. I mean, eventually, but he didn't have enough total time. Yeah, and that Citation, you know, they've had people, and that's a relatively easy jet to fly. They've had people steal Citation jets before that didn't have pilot's licenses. It's not like, you don't find anybody doing that with a Learjet or a Gulfstream. That thing would be spread over a cornfield for 10 square miles. But a Citation, you can really get them pretty slow. Yeah, did you check up that warranty fix on the Odyssey, Mary? Oh, you like that, Kim? Yeah, it's a beautiful area, man. I mean, it's hard to take a bad picture of that place, you know? Anybody gonna get you get an award for watching the whole Mackinac Island, Mackinac Bridge 3-hour and 30-minute video. Yeah, I just don't care for front-wheel drive. I got the Astro Beast. You know, this damn pulley on this alternator is making noise. I'm gonna go in there and see if they can adjust it. It's driving me nuts. I was hoping it'd go away, but it hasn't. It may have worn the belt funny as it was about to fail. I don't know, but either way, I don't like listening to it. But I will say this, I think I've really enjoyed a normal November. God, it's been a while. It really has. Hey, here's somebody up there. Oh, they just came out of my old parking spot. Normal snow, driving up there. Did you see those accidents? That truck accident did not look good. It actually looked like the cab fell down on 127. Mary, did you read anything about that? I could not find anything on it. And they actually blocked the expressway off later for a while. It was, you know how you go to Grayling, you get off to the left there? It's right before there. If you look on that video that I uploaded of snowing in November, I titled it A Normal November. Scroll to 20 minutes and 11 seconds, and you'll see that accident. There were actually 3 accidents. One, a car before that, the semi-truck, and then a trailer came unhitched.
Good night, Julie. Hey, Northern Girl.
Yeah, I mean, that thing was all over. There was shit laying everywhere, but it looked to me like the cab could have fallen down onto 127. But it's what it looked like, because right there, 127 goes under there. But I couldn't see it all. But if you scroll to 20 minutes and 11 seconds, you'll see that accident. What happens on that stretch up there? I-75 doesn't really run north-south. It runs southeast-northwest from West Branch till you get on the other side of Houghton Lake, and then it bends north. But there are other places where it kind of weaves around a little bit. And during this time of the year where the deck angle's low, there are places that never get sunshine. The trees are too tall. So what happens is that concrete's always colder than the rest of the highway. It snows, it freezes, and all of a sudden you've been hauling ass like I was, doing 80, and all of a sudden you've got a quarter of a mile of a solid sheet of ice, and you just kind of slide off the road, and that's exactly what happened. You want to go pee-pee, honey?
You want to go out there and go pee-pee another pee-pee? Yeah, Daisy's getting extra pee-pee in the night.
You want to go out and do pee-pee? You want to go pee-pee or not?
You don't want to go pee-pee. Okay. She doesn't want to go pee-pee.
Yeah, she already did that. It's too cold for her. Her hair's growing out, too.
You don't have to go pee-pee if you don't want to get. If you don't want to go pee-pee, honey.
Yeah, so that's what happens up there.
Daisy rubbed in poo-poo everywhere we were at yesterday. Oh, up Emory. I like the UP. I wouldn't want to live there.
They'll be fine, Northern Girl. They'll be fine. As long as you go, like, there's some big distances between, cities up there. So, but if I wouldn't be heading up there in a blizzard, but if it's just cold and typical up north, and they just didn't get a 9-inch dumping of snow, you don't have anything to worry about.
Where are you going up there? Oh, it's buffering. Sorry about that.
Oh, Houghton, yeah. Okay, you'll have a good time. What are you going out there for Thanksgiving?
Daisy wants to just relax with Dad. No more poopy and pee-pee.
She just got a McDonald's hamburger. Oh, yeah, it'll be good. Yeah, Houghton's cool. There's a lot of crime up north in the UP, though. A ton. Munising, Houghton, Marquette. A lot of drugs and a lot of crime. You're not up there feeding jackrabbit bunnies pellets out of your hand with a Christmas hat on. Be like you don't get carjacked. I think driving a snowplow would be cool. But that's got to be a job that they got to look for experience in. I'd probably be taking out every mailbox for the whole shift. But it sure would be. I'd like to drive a snowplow truck. Yeah, I saw one. There's one on that video right before the truck crash. No, yeah, there's a lot of crime. Munising's got crazy drug problems and crazy crime. The only decent thing about that whole area is pictured rocks, and in the summer when there's a lot of non-criminals visiting at the same time. Other than that, you couldn't pay me to live in Munising. Only decent northern Michigan UP town I live in is Crystal Falls. It's like they got 5,000 people that are decent, that aren't crooks or into drugs to move there, and it's paid off. It's a beautiful little town, Crystal Falls. Yeah, Sault Ste. Marie's, it's nice, but it's a dead town, to be honest with you. Now that they're opening the border restrictions, Sault Ste. Marie, Canada is way nicer. It's just like the Niagara Falls. The Canadian side is so much better than the American side. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with it, but you go to Niagara Falls now on the American side, you'll think you're in Pakistan. You'll get Baba Ganoush at 15 different places. Good night, Conan. You party all night. But yeah, I mean, crime's crazy, man. Yeah, Canadian Niagara's nice. I'll tell you what else is beautiful too, is where you go out the Canadian Rockies. That's a main thoroughfare of expressways. And just my opinion, of course, doesn't mean anything. I think the American Rockies are a joke compared to the Canadian Rockies. I mean, it's like apples and oranges. I mean, the Canadian Rockies are like, wow. Get up around Banff and all those places, Jasper. Really nice. Hey, Christine. I gotta clean these windows tomorrow. I meant to today, I forgot to. This Walmart gas station is hardly ever open compared to it used to be. I guess they don't even have a manager. Oh, what's that, Cindy? Yeah, I mean, up north, I mean, people have these ideas of what it's like up there. Check it out before you go. Same with the Amtrak coast-to-coast train ride. It's a nightmare. You'd be better off getting warmed up by sitting in the county jail for a week. The food would be better and you get a better night's sleep. Oh, tiny print? Yeah, I'm half blind. I gotta get new glasses. I haven't even upgraded them in about 10 years. I reached down last night and thought I grabbed my Playboy, and I was 3 pages into it and I realized it was my Hustler. Watch that 3-hour and 20-minute Mackinac video, Sydney. You're going to get to see it from above, below, from the east, the west, from Mackinac, from St. Ignace. I couldn't find any other angles. I am fascinated with the Mackinac Bridge. Just this idea that it's a marvel as far as engineering. It's a gorgeous structure. I mean, I wouldn't be doing a lot of those photos if they hadn't have done that. So the water is like Bahamas. We weren't separated at all. I never had to. Actually, my buddy wanted to admit me. It's like, I'm not doing that. If I get worse, I'll get admitted, but I'm going to get referrals instead. I'm better. I'm not like out of the woods, but it'd have to be like life and death before I'd get admitted. Hey, by the way, if you're on Medicare, I found this out. If you call an ambulance and you're on Medicare, if you don't get admitted, you've got to pay for that ambulance ride. If you get admitted, the ambulance ride is covered. So keep that in mind, because those bills are expensive. Ambulance rides are like crazy expensive. I had it at the Driftwood Motel. It's got the best whitefish. There's a waitress in there I like too. She's always working. If you get there before 4, you can get the basket. If you get there after 4, you got to get the dinner. I like their breading. I don't like greasy fish. I mean, I'll say who does? Well, evidently a lot of people, because Culver's fish is greasy. And I can't tell you a good place to get whitefish in Mackinac City other than Scallywags, which is closed. And I don't like any of the whitefoot fish places in Sault Ste. Marie. It's all greasy fish. You take a prime piece of great tasting fish and then you can't even cook it right. So I only get whitefish now at Scallywags in Traverse City or Mackinac City. Traverse City, they're open all year round. That's where I went a couple weeks ago and saw the owner, Jamie. I hadn't talked to him in probably 8 years. Or the Driftwood Motel. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, good coleslaw too. The only knock I got about them, and that is that they give you, and it's okay, they give you that tartar sauce. You got to pull the lid off that you buy from someplace. It's not, that's not that. I'd rather have homemade tartar sauce. Not a big deal, but it's a nice extra. Scallywags has excellent tartar sauce. Really good. But the Driftwood, that's the only knock I got on them, is their tartar sauce should be better. Yeah, I got the supplemental and I got the prescription too. Yeah, I did, yep. No, I never been to Bentley's. Is Bentley's? I never been. I always eat at the same place. You know, I just like that whitefish, and I like the way they prepare it, and I like the setup when you go in there. You don't need to sit near anybody. It's fast. Parking's not a problem. Yeah. Bay Road. Hey, here's another thing that I want to tell you guys. Not a big deal, but I shoot all those videos in 4K. But as time goes on, you know, that's a lot of bandwidth, and YouTube is getting weirder and weirder about that. So what happens is I'll upload those monster videos, and they'll get uploaded in standard definition first, 1080p, and then 2 days later they'll be 4K. So if you're really into watching stuff and you like that, just don't watch it when it first comes out, because you're going to be watching it on 1080p, and if you have a 32-inch TV, it's not going to be anywhere near as good as it could be. And on the photos I take, the infrared are 36 megapixel, and the color are 48 megapixel. So those are high resolution photos. Same thing though. It's going to first be uploaded in SD when you're going to watch it, 1080, equivalent to 1080, and then it's going to convert to 4K. But sometimes it's a couple days, and I just hate to see you watch it on a big TV in less of a resolution if you could avoid it. No, I'll check that out, Bentley. Yeah, Chicago's hurting. That area I lived in down there, that was the creme de la creme when I was living there. Top notch everything. But it's not like that. And they're even warning people not to go out in the Magnificent Mile. If you've ever went down there on a shopping spree back in the old days, when I moved there in '98, I moved there in May of '98, and I'm telling you, those first few years, it was like something out of A Wonderful Life. It was just beautiful. Horse-drawn wagons, and sleighs, and just decorations up the yin yang. Parades, families coming from all over, no trouble. Yeah, well, it's not like that now in just short 11 years. Well, 13 years now since I moved down there. Oh, Bay and Tittabawaski's? Yeah, that I ate that Harvey's one time after a wake. The guy who owns the Tim Hortons here, his brother died, and I went down for a wake. And the lady I went with, Pat, that older lady that headed me off at the pass in the parking lot a couple weeks ago, we went to Harvey's after. It was actually very good. Yeah, it was good. Yeah. Yeah, I liked it. Yep. Daisy's sleeping on my leg. Oh, you sleeping, stinky butt? You sleeping, stinker butt? Yeah, but those murders, see, that wasn't, they were having those murders when I lived there, but that's the south side and the west side. And they gentrified Cabrini Green. So that was never a factor in the Gold Coast where I lived. Rarely did you have crime. And now it's like crazy. They get like these gangs that come in, 50 people, walk right into a jewelry store, start pistol whipping places, smashing the counters. The water tower was like a choice place to shop. That thing is like a third empty now. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I take their garbage thing out for him and put it back because he's got like something like MS and she's had COVID. I do it anyway. He has a hard time walking around, and I haven't talked to him. I see they were gone today. I don't know. I'm not really like tight with them, but I don't know how she's doing. Good night, Rita. Rita, I missed your thing by a day, but I'm gonna catch you on next Monday. Secret conspiracy package. Yeah, Daisy stinks. I'm gonna wash my top blanket, so I didn't give her a bath because I'm gonna wash my blankets tomorrow. That's stinky butt Daisy. That's the stinker. Hey, Rita, what is Jessie's last name? Do you know her last name? Yeah, I'm gonna be signing off in a minute. No, if you go to just my channel and you click on videos, you'll be able to tell right away. No, none. Nope. Hey, Flower Fairy. Oh, done. Yeah, because somebody made a comment that Jesse Hope scammed somebody out of 1,000, and I don't know a Jesse Hope. Well, I think I'm going to sign off here, you guys. I'm going to go in there and try and knock out a little reading. So I hope you guys have a good night tonight and a good day tomorrow. That's right, Frederick. Good night, Simple Life. Yeah.
Good luck with everything. See you, Thomas. Oh, gotcha.
Okay, then this guy didn't know what he was talking about. I think he was referencing that to Katie or something. And by the way, I don't have any idea what's going on there. I don't want to know, to tell you the truth.
Good night, Mary.
Watch the Mackinac Bridge, 3 hours and 20 minutes, beginning to end. Then I got another one an hour and another one 45 minutes.
Good night, Mark. Good night, Rita.
Very shortly, Rita, they're going to say, does it hurt there? And you're going to say, not anymore.
Oh, okay.
Use that as your sleeping video.
Go sleepy. Night, night. Fire stick. Good night, Christine. Use your fire stick on it. Pillow top.
And like I said earlier, those don't turn into 4K till later on, but I don't know what you're watching them on. I like why Daisy wants to get out. All right, hon. She wants a drink of it. Okay, hon. We call it a night, honey. Good night, Faye. Yeah, I like watching those myself. You know, when you're doing them, you know, you're paying attention to things. And, you know, I'm not saying I don't enjoy while I'm out there, but it isn't like just going out there and sitting on a park bench. You know, making sure I hit the on button and you know, I'm using the right settings, and it hasn't dropped down on the tripod and you can't see anything. I'll tell you, there's something else I don't know if I'm getting Alzheimer's. There's something else I can't find. There's these covers that you use for your GoPros when you put them underwater, and I don't like putting them underwater without a cover. You can get away with it, I just don't. I can't believe that some of that gunk doesn't get around that speaker hole in some kind of way. And I have bought a new one as a spare. I can't find the old one. So that's that and that Claritin. I don't know whether I put them in a bag and threw them out or what. This drives me nuts, man. Especially the time I spend looking for this shit. I remember I had a bunch of sand on it and I didn't want to put it in my box. And I thought I remembered washing it off and laying it near the sink to dry. Well, that's the last I saw of it. Mary, have you been stealing things from me when I'm up there? Because you want the cover for your GoPro. Good night, Frisky. Ready to go Betty, hon? Let's go Betty, hon. Nighty. Bye-bye. Sweepy. Sweepy. Night-night. Stinky butt. Stinky butt. Sweepy, sweepy, sweepy. Well, good night, you guys. See you, Jeff. See you, Frisky. You guys party on. Your nighty-night. I'm going to send yours tomorrow, Jeff.